Black lives matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black lives matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black lives matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black lives matter.
Black lives matter.
Black lives matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black lives matter.
I can't hear you.
Black lives matter.
I can't hear you.
Black lives matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black lives matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black lives matter.
I can't hear you.
Black lives matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black lives matter.
Yeah, I'll make some fucking noise.
Yeah.
We outshine.
Who keep us safe?
We keep us safe.
Who keeps 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 us safe?
We keep us safe.
We keep us safe.
We keep us safe.
We keep us safe.
Who keeps us safe?
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 We keep us safe. 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 Yeah. One, we are the people.
Two, say it louder. We want justice for black people.
Let's go.
We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice.
One,
We are the people.
two,
Say it louder.
three.
Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people.
This community
We
needs to
are
wake
the
up.
people.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too. This is your fight too. This is your fight too. This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too.
We're gonna
This is your fight
do
too.
other things, but I guess we're still marching. I don't know. I put away my gimbal and all that. Maybe I'll take it back out.
Wake up, wake up.
This is your fight too. This is your fight too. It's a log on as well if we were gonna do that. I don't think so. Yep, went the wrong way.
How you doing, beautiful lady? I want to dedicate you a song. My brother. We gonna hold space for a little bit. I want to dedicate her song.
Grandma, auntie.
Grandma, how you feeling today? How's your neighborhood? How you like it this year? We surviving, right? Check this out, baby. You know I love you. And I love all mothers. Mama, can't you see?
Mama, can't you see
What the system's done to me?
what the system's done to me?
I just wanna come home.
I just wanna come home.
I'm gonna come home to eat, Mama. I love you. Have a blessed day.
Lovely.
You know what happened to those soldiers that never make it home to eat? Well, my black people, we always gonna make it home to eat. We love you, Mama. Bless. Have a good day. And I hope this community, so-called security community, which I got going on, there's like a lot of cops around here.
Stand up, fight back. 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 Stand up, fight back.
And she's an extension worker.
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When black lives are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Black lives are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When black lives are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
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 When black lives are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When black lives are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Black women are under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When black women are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do? When black lives are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When black lives are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
You know what? What I've been hearing, Washington Heights is supposed to be the motherland soon. You know what I mean? And what I've been hearing is Washington Heights has been an attack. No, we holding this traffic.
Whose lives matter?
Black lives matter.
Whose lives
We gonna keep
matter?
going.
Black lives matter.
I
somewhere to go to.
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
I can't hear you.
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
I can't hear you.
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
I can't hear you.
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter.
I can't hear you.
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
Say it louder.
Black Lives Matter.
Say it louder.
Black Lives Matter.
Hold on, we're gonna hold some space for a little bit. Let them hear us. Let them hear us.
Put a gimbal on real quick.
Hold space for a little. Hold space for a little. Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
I can't hear you.
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
I can't hear you.
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
I just want to share a few words with the community. That's all I'm looking for right now. Now we're going to command it too. Because this is a predominantly Dominican neighborhood. But I want the Dominican people here in this neighborhood to know. Yo soy dominicano también. Y esta lucha es parte del espíritu también. Esta lucha es parte de nuestra comunidad también. Cuando un afroamericano se muere a la mano de la policía, justamente es el derecho de nosotros venir y pelear juntas a la comunidad de ellos. Nosotros tenemos que unirnos toditos como seres humanos en esta guerra que estamos peleando ahora. Nosotros toditos somos una comunidad, somos toditos de origen africano. Nosotros toditos tenemos que querernos unos a otros. Entonces, cuando una comunidad de minoridad está en una lucha, es el deber de toditos nosotros salir a la lucha también. Gracias a todos los que están mirando, que están trabajando, vengan y pelear con nosotros. Muchas gracias, muchas gracias. Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
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 Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe. We keep us safe.
Who keeps us safe?
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 We keep us safe.
We're gonna keep this show moving, man. One,
We are the people.
two,
Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people. We are the people. Say it louder. We want justice for black people.
yo, we're gonna let them know why we
Say
out
it
here.
louder.
We're gonna say some of those names. So when he says George Floyd, I'm gonna say Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, I guess we're going back
Breonna
downtown.
Taylor. George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
Out of there. George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor.
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 Breonna Taylor.
Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. I have no idea if we're gonna walk up and drink water. Breonna Taylor. 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 Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor. 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 Breonna Taylor.
George Floyd.
Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor.
You know what I hate the most in our community? No more cops in our community.
Off the pig.
No more comrades in jail.
Fuck the pigs.
Things are gonna catch hell.
Fuck the pigs.
I said a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Fuck 12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Fuck 12.
Check this
9,
out.
10, 11.
Fuck 12.
9, 10, 11.
Fuck 12.
I need you guys to hear me out one more time. We should step. In the name of love, we're gonna step up over here. Because you know, we've been bringing the fight for a long time. And I'm gonna say this one more last time. No more cops in the community!
Fuck the pigs.
Or hang up your Batman and Robin.
Yo, can I say one for the community real quick? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Fuck 12.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Fuck 12.
Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Fuck 12.
Hey, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Fuck 12.
9, 10, 11.
Fuck 12.
Let's go.
Fuck 12.
Hey, 9, 10, 11. Hey, 9, 10, 11.
We're going this way.
Making it right.
Going down this way. Make it right. Make it right. Make it right. Good.
I see his taxi drivers.
They can't stop it, revolution.
Fuck the pig.
They can't stop it.
Yo, just so y'all know, we're not out here making noise for no reason.
They can't stop.
Like 10 of us, fucking loud as hell, walking up all the fucking streets. Oh, rest in peace, Pizza Rat.
You can't stop the revolution. 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 You can't stop the revolution.
You can't stop the revolution.
You can't stop the revolution.
You can't stop the revolution.
You can't stop the revolution.
You can't stop the revolution.
You can't stop the revolution.
You can't stop the revolution.
You can't stop the revolution. No KKK. No prison. Total
We
abolition.
don't need no cops.
No KKK. No fascist USA.
No fucking cops.
No KKK. No fascist USA.
We don't need no cops.
No KKK. No fascist USA. No KKK. No fascist USA.
We don't need no cops.
No KKK. No fascist USA.
No fucking cops.
No KKK. No fascist
We
USA.
don't need no cops.
No KKK. No fascist USA.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
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 No cops.
No KKK. No fascist USA.
I said no cops.
No KKK. No fascist USA.
Fucking cops.
No KKK. No fascist USA.
No fucking cops.
No KKK. No fascist USA.
They can go to hell. We are here today, see you, baby. Because we are saving a piece of country, baby. Don't worry about it. 857 Riverside Drive is an abolition house.
I see you right, bro.
And we, the people, have gathered because the new landlord wants to tear down a piece of black history. We will not allow for a landlord to tear down part of our heritage, our culture, and our people. So when I say black is not for sale, you say black is not for sale. 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 Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale. Black is not for sale. Black is not for sale. Black is not for sale. Black is not for sale. Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
Black is not for sale.
You remember that scene? I think they used to say it in high school. Everybody surround the house, guys. I'm gonna do something we used to do back in the day. And our ancestors know about this. Surround the house like we was gonna hold hands, but y'all don't have to hold hands if y'all don't want to. Everybody surrounding the house from corner to corner. You know what?
Yeah, get that black line.
Get that black man.
Show for show.
You understand? This is a part of history.
Yo, Peter, you want to say some stuff?
We're gonna go down prayer real quick.
All right, cool.
gonna be like a little couple of seconds.
All right, yeah, after the prayer and stuff.
How you doing, man?
See you, brother.
And I want you guys to channel after me. We shall not be moved. 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 I said, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. I said, we shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Guys, this is a part of history. Back in the days, or in another life, if I wanted to get away from the fascists, I would jump on the boat and find the first safe haven. So, back in the days when we had water, it was very difficult to drive that boat through the entrance to safe haven, a place where slaves once felt safe. But we know how this story ends. From a house full of slavery, from a house full of pain, even though they got there and they found themselves with happiness, there was still one more thing right behind them, and that was pain. Pain from marching day and nights, pain from the railroads, pain for all our brothers and sisters. And to this day and now, we still carry that burden of that pain when we have the fascists behind us, as they tell us we cannot march in our streets when black people built this.
Come on.
Ladies and gentlemen, you see this house right here? This is 857 Riverside Drive. I was born and raised in this neighborhood, and I don't know why it was brought to my attention when I'm 25 years old that this was an abolition house. Why is it that our history continues to get swept under the rug? And why is it that we are not being educated on these historical landmarks right among us?
Talk about it.
You know, it was brought to my attention not too long ago that this house was getting ready to be torn down. And when I found out that this house holds such historical significance and that it was a part of the Underground Railroad, I told myself I'd be damned if I let a landlord come in here and build a fucking high rise.
Come on.
So I just want to say thank you to all of you for coming out and actually putting your foot down and standing up to, you know, this type of oppression. Because when we allow these small things to happen like this is how they begin to whitewash the term of gentrification and erase our history. And we can't call ourselves freedom fighters and fighters for liberation if we're not out here trying to preserve the very thing that we're standing for.
Guys, if you think about it, everything we ever owned in the past history, our ancestors, los primos, hermanas, madres, mothers, children, brothers and sisters, everything their generation carried is in their house. From the sand to the dirt, to the little piece of dry concrete in the past, deep, buried with bones between those walls. Guys, and this is how we unfuck the world, one at a time. From a brother to another, from sisters, from brothers. None of us are perfect. But there's one thing that brought us together today. And it's history. And it's love to keep our community standing. To protect where we eat. To protect where we sleep. To protect our mothers at nighttime. This shit is so emotional right now, to be honest. I feel like when my brother started this mission, it was for a greater purpose. And I felt like, you know what? I know Al came out here for a greater purpose. I know my brothers came out here for a greater purpose. We got tired of seeing our females in history dragged to the last corners of the earth where nobody has any memory. So we cannot, I repeat, we cannot let this monument, our bloodline, perish in the past. We will not lose hope. We will win. We will start. Oh, friend, family member.
I also want to add on. For those of us that are here, for those of us that are, like I said, for those of us that are here, I want to say thank you for coming out once again. Because right here, this structure standing is a repository of African American culture. You know, refugee slaves came through that house when they came to the North seeking freedom. So you could just imagine, you know, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the pain that they endured seeking liberation, seeking freedom. So it's a great thing that we're out here as a community, putting our foot down and letting it be known that we are aware of what's going on and that we will not be silent on this matter. Because the community board can do but so much. But this is what counts when the people come out. Not when the community board wants to have a little press conference and photo op. That's not what it's about. It's about the people being aware of their history being swept away from them, being washed away. We cannot allow for our history to be washed away. We need to put our foot down and we need to come together, like I said, and I thank you guys once again. So now what we're going to do is we're going to open up the floor for a few words from a couple different speakers, and we're going to proceed like that, ladies and
Well,
gentlemen.
my brother, you know what's crazy? When we come across history and the past and our ancestors that we talk about, when it rains and the rain comes down at nighttime, I love poetry. When it rains and the rains come down at nighttime, beyond these walls, blood sheds. Beyond these walls, tears, rain from God. Beyond these walls, we rain in the water. And our slavery song, our last song, rain in the water, rain in the water, darling, rain in the water. And when I sing that song, it brings joy to my heart. A lot of our people, right now, we are successful. We build what we see today. And like I said, we are part of history. Thank you guys for being out here with us and showing you guys appreciation. And let's let the rest of our brothers share some words with you guys. Fucking water, guys.
Let's get this party started right now. Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
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 But you know what's funny? The more we say it, it feels like the less they hear it. The more we say it, it feels like the less they respect it. There's a lot of people behind the camera lens on the other side of the internets who are watching from their couches right now. There's a lot of you guys, my beautiful people, my people of color, my people in the community, who are watching behind a curtain right now.
La comunidad.
Who are hiding behind the scenes. You're waiting for an opportunity to help. You're seeking an opportunity to make a difference in this revolution. Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
It's right here. It's right here. 857 Riverside Drive is Black Lives Matter. Every time you say Black Lives Matter, you should get a vision of this house right here, right now.
Yeah.
Recognize.
Hold on. Let me borrow this. I want the landlord to hear this specifically because he wants to shout something over his little microphone and his little surveillance camera that he got in the window. He wants to say that he called that he told us get away from the property or I'm going to call
The police been chasing us.
Thank you for showing your racism.
We used to that, right? That's what we
The guy who watched us through the cameras, he gonna call the cops.
Guess what? The cops already here, bro. You're late.
So let's let them know one more time why we're here. Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
I can't hear you.
Black Lives Matter.
Whose lives matter?
Black Lives Matter.
And don't you motherfucking forget it. We gonna come here every day, every week if we have to.
We outside.
Who outside?
We outside.
Who outside?
We outside.
Who outside?
We outside.
Who outside?
We outside. I'm not gonna be up on here too long, Ali.
Go on the phone, please, brother. We have to let the landlord know.
No, because I want what I want to do, if nothing else, is reinforce. All I want to do, if I don't say nothing else before I get up over here, because there's a lot of movement going on. Everybody in the revolution is not going to be in person. I get that. If you're disabled, if you got children, if you got financial issues that preclude you from being out here, that's okay. But what's not acceptable is you not pulling out your phone and going to Justice for George, NYC, on Instagram, and explaining to people what we're doing out here. 857 Riverside Drive. This is Black history. This is abolitionist history. They want to bulldoze it away for financial profit. But Ali already told y'all, and this is what we're going to keep letting y'all know. Black is not for sale. 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 We'll be out here. Thank you, guys.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, y'all make some noise. This man famous right here. Y'all make some noise. Make some noise.
This is Brother Ty right here.
I just want to let you guys know that you guys, I want to make sure that you all know. So there are people that I know, particularly this gentleman right here, who lives in my building, who's been instrumental in finding Texas. So now this right here, without question, let's do it.
This is Peter. Oh, wait, no.
This is not the time.
This is exactly. Hold on.
Our lives are not for sale. You can very good sure that black people.
This my man.
Is this the owner?
Ty, we don't have to get violent.
I want to make sure you guys hear the truth. So the idea is that this could actually devalue my brand.
You'll have a chance to. Don't worry. Hold on. Let him finish. Peter. Hold on, Peter. Let him speak first, and then you're going to speak. Calm down. It's okay.
Get this man a bullhorn, please.
I want to make sure. Oh shit! What's up?
All right. Thank you. Yes. Get to the point.
That we make sure that we aren't for sale, that we aren't. Yes, I do have a big. I'm going to explain it.
Let this man talk.
They're trying to stop you from telling the truth. This is exactly what happened. So I did. Just to address what he said, I moved into this building a little over 10 years ago. He was on the board. One of the things that was said to me and my family, my wife and the baby was, oh, as I look at your documents, you don't have enough money to feed your kids cat food. That's what he said to me, and I've got people on the board. Now the truth is that you absolutely did. Why would I make something like that up? No. So now, instrumentally, you know that like it's been engineered that literally all the folks in our building that were of color are gone for the most part. So I mean, you can look at our
Fucking called out here.
So now, of course, there's this information about the history of this building, right? And I think it's right for us to make sure we do that research. We need to make sure that we're not getting bamboozled, that the research is going to be being led by somebody like Peter because he's interested in something not going up that could potentially devalue things to property. There you go. So, but I do believe that whoever's building this right here, there is always a possibility to go in and talk to say, hey, look, we need to make sure that you know, if indeed the Underground Railroad and all these other things that we're saying that could be connected to Jamal Tourist, that there's something here. There's a cultural sense here. There are things like that that can be done by these buildings. I think you know about it. Yeah, that's right. That could be done to make sure that we're preserving this. But let's make sure that we're not getting bamboozled by folks who are trying to use Black Lives Matter for their own profit.
Yep, that's so true. That's so true. That's so true.
Tell him.
Peter's not the only person. There's a group of
That's fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. But I know that he was leading this, and I live in that same building, and I've been the victim of his behavior. And the truth is that it's not just, you know, one person. Of course, it's a board, and people still have to make those kinds of decisions. But you can look at our building, and things have changed dramatically. And I'm not saying so. I am no longer going to sit aside and watch people dismantle our neighborhood in a way that is only for self-interest. This right here, I don't have any problems with people finding out the history of this building and preserving that history. But there are ways to
Not
be able
for the view.
Yeah. There are ways to talk to somebody who might be potentially building something on top of this that says, look, we can have a cultural center in here, something that actually upgrades our, and the kids and people who are indigenous to this neighborhood are not going to continue to be pushed out from this neighborhood. So that's why I have a personal issue with him, because I experienced from here.
I believe it.
Okay, that's all I'm saying.
I believe
So
it.
I don't
I
want
believe what
anybody
you're
else
saying.
to experience what I experienced. I have the emails and everything, so I got receipts. Just to let you know.
Amen, brother.
The other thing,
Amen.
You don't need 46 luxury condos.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with you. But I do believe that there is a way in which, if indeed somebody does want to build here, that we have a conversation with them. Is that because look, you guys know how New York is about business, right? It's about development. Real estate people are the ones with the real power. But if people do get together, there is a way of being able to say, okay, let's see if we can find a way that if it's going to be a compromise, it has to be something that is of service to the community. And so, I would love to see, a cultural spot right here. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Or something
the
like
very
that.
least.
Or something. At the
Expanding
very least.
the
I'm okay with
historic
compromises.
district. I mean, we're trying to also save the houses down 158 with all these developers hovering around.
I don't disagree with you. But that's all I'm saying. Is that
Thank you for sharing your experience.
No,
we all appreciate that. Trust me. We don't believe that you will be lying anything
I
about
have
that.
no reason.
Especially by his actions, that's the mindset of a white supremacist, and that's what they do.
I hear you.
That explains why the blacks and the Spanish are all being moved to the Bronx.
Exactly.
At the end of the day,
So when they try to say they got a team of Justice League out here coming together in the neighborhood of fascists, voting the black and Spanish out, casting them out to
I
the
believe
Bronx.
it. I believe it.
I believe it.
I don't care how much they want to deny.
That's all I
believe
wanted to
it.
do. I want to make sure
Thank you,
you
my
guys
brother,
know
for shining
the
that light.
full,
Yes.
comprehensive view about what's going on, and that you guys can use your power in a way that you know that you're not undermining yourself.
Absolutely.
All right, but I'm considering all the stuff that has gone on in the past year, I just don't want to see this this continue without us really being at the table.
You next. You up next. You got the mic.
You want to leave me?
This is a house that used to be a part of the Underground Railroad, and we want to protect it because the owner right now wants to demolish it and create like a luxury condo or some bullshit. Basically like gentrify this neighborhood. And so we're trying to get this, designated as like a historical landmark, and not like turned into like a museum for profit, but like an actual community center would be a cool idea, I think.
Yeah, I like that setup. That's nice.
Oh, thank you. But this is like the first day, one of the first days we've been out here. The organizers came out here before, but not as many people came out. But more and more people are coming out. So soon there might be more. Yeah, it might be a big issue.
Oh no, it is. People don't in the community. They don't want.
Focus on the property. What are you doing for the property?
But not a new one. Yeah, I mean,
They like it just like this.
this is the street, by the way. Yeah, take care. Yeah, they want to turn this place into like a fucking construction site. Totally disregard everyone that lives here. Create like some fancy new fucking glass building, You see they're like already doing construction on this building. That's probably taken like who the fuck knows how long, how they do it in New York.
He was a member of the Methodist Church. He held this very documented case where he helped the guy named George Kirk who escaped slavery in the South, in Savannah, I think, and he's come up to New York. And it's a fascinating story. It's on our website. You can see how he helped Kirk get to freedom through hiding him in the sugar refinery, tried to hide him in a box of books. Harris preached in a number of churches against slavery and for abolitionism. New York City at the time was making its money on the backs of the African slave trade and the goods produced in the South that they financed with slave labor. There was a really strong pro-slave movement in the city. Support for anti-slavery was not strong. Harris got kicked out of his church in a Star Chamber proceeding. They told him you can't preach here anymore because he was abolitionist. It was a Methodist church. He came uptown at the corner of 150 55th in Amsterdam, he founded a church, a Wesleyan Methodist church, where he preached abolitionism. He invited freed slaves and free blacks who were living in New York to come preach there. He built about 5 houses here on land that he bought from the heirs of John James Audubon, who himself was part black, the naturalist who had the estate here. He built, I think, about 5 houses. This house he built, and after 2 years after it was built, it was inhabited by a man named John Newhouse, who was another preacher in his organization and a partner of his sugar factory. The sugar factory was down by the river on 16th Street. Harris also built a steamboat and a steamboat wharf. The steamboat went up to Poughkeepsie.
It was a
Okay, but what's that pertaining to the building? That's what I'm saying.
in New York, what we're doing now. So what happened is,
When you come in to help this house,
I'm explaining to you. Okay, so this house, what we believe is that this house was a key part of the Underground Railroad. There's no documentation yet because the Underground Railroad was not organized. It was secret. If you were found to be part of the Underground Railroad, you could go to jail, you could be lynched, all kinds of shit. Okay?
what about your ancestors?
I'm sorry?
Your ancestors.
My ancestors.
You're not getting the point. The point is you got to get to the chase.
My ancestors.
We want to know
Tell
what
them
did
about
you
what
do
you've done
to help
with
this
the city
community?
of New York to get to this point where they
with
denied
the
us.
city, so when we found out about that they were going to put a 13-story tower, we said this can't be. What is going on here? We started looking, and I met Vivian through some friends in the neighborhood because she organized to save a park down the block. She introduced me to a guy named Matthew Spady, who's written a book about the whole area. And Matthew said,
and landmark also.
and that landmark part of the area. Matthew said, you know, the history of this house is really interesting. We need to dig more into it. And a guy who lives here named Joe Amodius, who's a journalist, started doing the digging. And we found this link to Dennis Harris, who had been an abolitionist and an Underground Railroad guy downtown, and came up here. And we assume he did the same thing up here, but there's no documents yet. So what we said is that they can't tear this down because this is clearly a piece. It was an abolitionist colony up here, a settlement of abolitionists who were kicked out of Manhattan and moved up here. And we said this is a piece of history that has to be preserved.
But isn't this where the Underground Railroad ended, where the slaves were free?
No, not at all. The Underground Railroad ended at the Canadian border. You were not free. After the Fugitive Slave Act, you were not free in the North. You were not free in the North until you were out of the country or you bought your freedom and had the papers to prove it. And even then, you've read things like 12 Years a Slave. People who bought their freedom still got caught. Okay, you were not free in this country if you were black. I'm not arguing with that at all. I completely agree. Okay? So we said this house, we have to find out what the story is with this house, and it should be safe. This house, it's old. It's the oldest continuously inhabited house in northern Manhattan. It has this history of abolitionism. People are starting to deny the entire black history in this country. Okay? I'm Jewish. The same thing happened to us in Europe. What?
You're really not. You should go back if you really look at this economy history. Even Adolf Hitler knew that.
Okay, everyone. I'm tired of white people trying to sell black history.
Come on, sis.
This is fucking ridiculous. How a white person gonna come and tell you your history?
Yeah, exactly.
All these fucking white people always selling books and selling history. They talk about racism and they don't believe it. So a white person gonna come and teach them about their history?
Right now in the schools, they're trying to teach people that slavery was not that bad.
I'm gonna tell you, most of these books about race and racism are written by white people. What the fuck they know about it?
No.
You're gonna come and tell people that actually live. You know.
I'm not telling you.
That's what they
Okay,
do.
so what? That's what you're doing, though.
She's telling the truth.
That's what you're doing.
Time for your ass to go.
You're telling these people that this was no liberation, that New York was no liberation.
What?
It was. I believe it was. He's just lying. That's what they do. They don't want us to know the truth.
White people riding in the back of black people to get rich.
That's so true. She's so right.
You slaved us and had us dig for gold just to get rich.
No, keep talking, please. No, you're talking the truth. You're talking the truth.
No, it's just that, you know, I'm tired of this. Everywhere you go, everybody, like, you know, selling books is white writers.
You're right. It's always a white writer.
Yeah. So, how a white person gonna come and tell what you guys have suffered?
Even years ago in Tennessee, it was like 3 or 2 years ago, There was one specific building where they had all the documentation from slavery up to now in a certain building, and they burned it down. So if you wanted to look at the tracks and stuff, and you wanted to know the real details, all of that is already gone. So I totally believe you. Especially half of the shit that he was saying was trying to throw us off, which made no sense.
But why is that? Because education is power.
Yes.
So they want us to be ignorant so they can keep writing our backs.
Exactly.
Y'all noticed something when we went to school growing up? None of our teachers was from our race. It was a white man. The principal was a white man. After a while, I got a couple of Spanish.
Let's go to the back. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to the back of the building. But before we go to the back, just to talk about paperwork, right? So I'm a big fan of talking about what we can do with the pen and the paper. Give Vivian a chance to say what we
You guys make some noise for Vivian.
She was trying to like white-splain, mansplain the situation. People
So
might
what
be
we
doing that.
need is for you to go to our website, saveriverside.org, and there's a petition there. If you can sign it, the more that we can show that we have support, the better our chances are of being able to save the house. We are trying to put it right. We also have, so I can bring them down here, letters to sign when we deliver the paperwork to landmarks, the report. They need to see that the community is behind it. We're going to post a letter on there that you can send back to us so that we can have it as a stack of papers to be able to deliver to show that the community is behind saving this, potentially to make it a center, to not have it torn down by a development. I mean, we became aware of the issue once we saw that there was this plan for a 13-story, 46-condo kind of building, which is, it doesn't belong in this neighborhood. And this neighborhood is historic and is very, there are not a lot of places in the city that are left, that are low, that go back to a 19th century history.
Yeah, like Central Park. That was all black community.
No, I know.
Now look at it.
Seneca Village was like made them abandon Central Park when they were their area when they were going to build Central Park. This was we need to show that we have support. If you can tweet or, go on Instagram with some of the stuff, preferably not whatever was going on with Peter, but about your support of this house and history and that should be saved.
There's many things that we fight. Yes, this house is a part of history, but there's so much things that we fight that we still don't even get. Because we're not the one that makes the laws. We're not the ones that, enforce things. We're not the ones that make things happen. We could cry, we could march, we could do all that. But at the end of the day, our people is the one that's still fighting every day on a daily basis. I mean, I'm just so lost for words, I can't even get my words straight. But I mean, you should have an idea of what I mean, or what I'm talking about.
I do. I made a film about a man who was on the chain gang, who's an artist who does art about Jim Crow South. He was hung upside down in a tree. I spent 10 years with him on the road with this film. So I do, to the extent that I'm able to understand, I certainly have been exposed to what his experience is. I've gone to the airport with him, they whisk me through and they, tear every corner of it to make sure that he's okay. He's gotten to deposit money that he's gotten from art, from art fellowships, and they bring the police to have a black man be depositing a $50,000 check in his own bank branch. I have experienced a lot of this through my experience with him, which does is I have an easier time walking out here than you do. Absolutely.
So you do agree when someone such as myself will say that you can know and you can learn for the fact that you're not us, as far as being a black man or black woman. You can never understand what we go through, we totally see it.
I don't understand. I have not had the experience.
And you never will. You do know that.
I do. My mother fled undercover for 2 years out of Europe and came, on the last boat out during World War II. So I grew up with that sense of being a displacement, but still you can pass in a way that you couldn't pass in Europe necessarily, or in here. And she could. So
something we don't have. Something that your people will always
lost
deny.
everything. Without anything.
I'm an immigrant too.
I know.
And I know what I mean. But your color gives you privilege that I don't have.
Absolutely, that's what I just said. I can walk in the street and stop. You walk in the street, people get suspicious. They walk behind you in a drugstore to make sure
don't know why you white men are getting offended that he was silenced. White men fucking talk everywhere in the fucking world. Are you really offended that he wasn't allowed to talk here? Like, check yourself. That's called toxic masculinity. White fragility.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you. All right, so check back. All right, so yeah. All right, so check it out. So one of the things that I didn't think I'd be speaking about this because it's like two people who've been involved in this longer than me, but I mean, I'm putting my soul into this. Like everybody else involved in this. This is a part of abolitionist history. It's part of Black Lives Matter movement. This might be one of the most powerful uses of our voices in the revolution right now. Not to say the only, but definitely one of the most powerful statements. If we can save this place. So back in the Underground Railroad days, this used to be subsided by water. Water used to abut it at the back, right? And that's how the steamboat used to be able to come to the house, carry the slaves up into Canada. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go around to the back and see where the water used to be and see how it connected and really feel the vibrations of this property.
I don't know if you know this, but the city just bought a house in Brooklyn, Duffield Street, 227, which was also a house where abolitionists live. And they want to say that they also, like here, cannot absolutely prove it's an Underground Railroad stuff. So why that one? Let's get this one saved also. I think that's another one of our goals. That, the city should not just do one as a model house. Let's make an effort to save as much as we can of the history that's so important.
I just feel like.
All right, so let's go on to the back. Yeah.
Sorry, do you mind repeating the website where we can?
Yeah, what's the website?
It's Save Riverside. Just SaveRiverside.org.
We still got some more around the corner.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk more. Everywhere we go, people wanna know.
I think it was a little confusing because the dude that was talking was speaking the position of the opposition, like, and I think that was misunderstood. Like, like anyone but him. Which is almost like coming out here and sea lioning. So I can understand why people aren't really feeling that as well. It's like we don't need to know the opinion of the opposition. It's wrong. It's the wrong opinion. And I honestly, I don't know much about the context because it seemed like someone in the neighborhood called him out in the beginning. So maybe that's why people were kind of hostile towards him. So he might have been correct in everything that he was saying, but someone in the neighborhood didn't like him personally, I guess. Because I guess that guy's like part of the city counts, the neighborhood watch or some shit, the neighborhood committee that has been voting on this, and maybe people feel like black and brown people's voices aren't being heard within the little community, is maybe why some people were upset about that. Which is true. I mean, like, that's the idea. It's like, that dude, I doubt he lives here. Like, he got called by someone in the neighborhood, but it doesn't mean that he actually lives here, you know? Could just be talking about a neighborhood that doesn't affect him, you know? Wow. Got this huge fucking pit in here. So I see, they want to fucking develop this whole area or some shit.
No, they don't want to develop this.
Oh.
No, the only thing that's going on is that the house, which if you walk over there you can see, is 4 stories high. They want to knock it down. They want to sell it for about $4.5 million as a development project. And the original plan was a 13-story tower, but I guess they don't have the money for it because now they haven't filed any of the...
Who, the owners don't have the money for it?
Right. So it's even a question of who the owner is. The guy who owned the house for 25 years was a black MTA track worker and his wife. She was a school teacher. They paid $100,000 for it in the mid-90s. In the early 2000s, they became 2 more victims of the countrywide scandal, borrowed $1 million, thought they were going to get rich. Foreclosure came. Some guy from New Jersey, that's why I wondered if it was the guy with the camera, what his name was, if he was the guy or not, or if he was the buyer. He found their name on a foreclosure list and bought it from them for half of what it was worth, $1 million. It's about a $2 million house.
Okay.
The guy owed more than $1 million to the bank. We don't know exactly why Al actually agreed to sell the house for half of what it was worth, but Al says he never saw any of the money. And then the guys who bought it from him let him live there for a year. All of a sudden, they filed plans to build a tower, tear down the house, build a tower, and evict Al. We're neighbors. First thing we said was 13-story luxury tower in a neighborhood where people are getting kicked out right, left, and center from the rental buildings here because prices are going up, going up, going up. The last thing we need is 13 stories of mini condos. I mean, this area needs is affordable housing.
I think everyone agrees on that.
Right. And my crazy neighbor with his issues about everything aside, so what is this house? Because none of us really knew. We just saw this decrepit thing, and we discovered very quickly that it had this history of connection to the Underground Railroad. What we can establish for fact is that it was part of an abolitionist colony up here. What we can't establish for fact is that it actually served on the Underground Railroad, mainly because we haven't had time to look, and that's because the Underground Railroad wasn't a railroad with timetables and tickets and records. So this means going through hundreds of archives around the country, looking for letters that people who had escaped slavery may have sent to their families saying Dennis Harris or John Newhouse or Washington Heights or the Audubon Estate or something was part of my trip out of slavery into freedom.
Okay, why is that part relevant, though? That's why...
Because, well, we want to know what the real history is. What we think is that it was part of the Underground Railroad and a piece of abolitionism in New York.
Well, if people have said that it is, then it is. Why would they lie about that?
Because nobody knows.
They don't say fucking Disneyland is part of the Underground Railroad.
No,
like people,
but
like if they say this was the Underground Railroad, it probably is.
No,
like,
nobody who was there said
they don't
it
just
was.
make that shit up. Like,
Well, people do make stuff up all the time, but nobody knows
really?
for sure.
Like we're like what else?
Okay, for instance, there's a house in Brooklyn that's just been.
What, you don't think that's real either?
What?
You don't think that real abolitionists lived there? That was part of the Underground
I
Railroad
do, but
either?
but that's the
That's
thing.
a real thing.
No,
Okay.
the one in Brooklyn, nobody's sure if it served for the Underground Railroad. If you go read the designation, what they say is we know that the Truesdales lived there. We know that they were abolitionists. We know that people in their congregation actually helped people escape. So being part of the Underground Railroad actually means that physically you helped people escape, hid them somewhere, conducted them through some passage, or put them on a boat, pointed them somewhere,
Okay,
gave them a meal.
but I don't understand, like, what's the point of, like, gatekeeping the Underground Railroad? Like, why, like, what, like...
They don't never want the truth to come out.
Yeah, like, what's the point? Like,
I
why
understand-
not just accept what people are saying as what it is and then fight for them to help
Because-
your
okay,
crazy,
for two things.
your
The
crazy
first-
neighbor?
the
I don't know why
first
you
reason-
say he's crazy, because he got fucked over by the bank. Like,
No,
plenty of
I don't
normal
say
people
Al's
get
crazy.
fucked
I say
over.
the guy who came up to me is
Okay,
crazy.
okay.
That's a different... He's got...
Because, you know, like, this dude got fucked over by the bank.
Oh,
In
this
some
guy- this-
types,
right,
double
so-
banks, it seems
No, I
like,
understand.
double foreclosure
Right,
or whatever.
Right. So what I've been doing is trying to get him a lawyer who will take the case and pull together the documents to show how
He's
he got
definitely,
ripped off.
needs some representation.
He's got a lawyer
to figure all of
who's-
this
right,
out.
He's got a lawyer who's not very... it's not his field. His field is evictions, so he's trying to work on that. But for the proof that the guy was ripped off, you have to pull together all the documents, and the problem is that he signed all the papers. And so it becomes really difficult to prove that he signed them under duress.
Well, I mean, I agree that
I mean, I'm not
a
a
good
lawyer.
lawyer, I agree. Like,
And
a good lawyer would have to help convey the argument that this is part of the Underground Railroad and it is history.
That wouldn't affect a court. The court wouldn't care about that for the title to the house. Okay? No, I'm telling you, this is. I'm telling you some facts. I've been down this road with this for the last 6 months. I've been living this.
Then that's the issue with the court, That's
Right,
the issue with the
but-
system, and that's why people that are activists out here have issues with the court and issues with the
so
system.
do I. So do I. But so how do we make it work? Because the problem is that on the 24th is a hearing in court, or it'll be online, in which the owners of the house, that white guy with the crew cut and the camera and the cigarette, works for them, are asking for an injunction to evict Al, get the marshal to come and throw him out of the house. Once they get that, under the system that exists, which is totally fucked, the developer then he can file a demolition permit immediately. Neighbors and anyone else have 30 days to object. That's it. And then the bulldozers can roll.
Well, the idea in an ideal world is the community could come together and find out how much money he does owe to avoid being evicted and all of that. And if he wants to move, I would assume not. If he lived here for who the fuck knows how long, he's probably facing eviction under distress,
I agree.
as many people are.
So to buy
and
the
so,
thing out is somewhere between two.
Do you know how much it is?
Between $2 and $6 million. So the way that you do this, if you're smart, is what we're trying to do. Is you throw up enough.
Can
obstacles.
try to raise that. It's
No,
possible. Crazier
listen.
things have happened.
Right, whatever. I'm trying to
But
explain
go on,
what we're
yeah.
doing. Okay. I mean, you can fantasize it, but I'll just tell you what we're doing about it if you're interested. Okay.
What are you doing? Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're trying to raise the money. We got commitments from City Council to about $1 million. We need to find an organization that can handle the money. It's got the accounting and the bookkeeping and has run construction projects before. We had an architect come and a contractor come, and both of these women looked at the house and gave us their estimates for what it would cost to rebuild it and stabilize it because it's falling apart inside. So we know the construction costs are between about $500,000 and $800,000. We know that the sale price is going to be between $2 and $3 million. We've been able to get commitments, but not firm commitments, to about $1 million. So that's where we stand. So what we need to do...
You can also pressure the buyer.
The seller.
The buyer of the expected
right,
buyer.
The current landlord, the guy who claims title. Right.
Because, to value a house that's falling apart at $2.5 million,
Have you looked at the real estate in New York? See this building over here with the burned out apartments? Each of those apartments, if the building were empty, right, and nobody had any rent stabilization liens on the building, and were totally free market, if it were totally free market, each of those apartments of that
those are
building
huge, though. Those are
They're not.
fucking 5 times the size of this little house
they're
right
not
here,
huge.
though.
No,
compared to this little
they're not.
space,
No,
so
they're
it's
not.
like a different comparison.
They're not.
It's
You can look it up online, but they're not. The apartments in there probably average around 1,400 square feet. I've been in them. This house is about 3,500 square feet. Okay, so each of those apartments is worth about $1 million.
Oh, I see. There is estimated value of what they can get from this
If this
space.
building were empty, right? If there were no one in there and he didn't have to
That
by any
obviously,
rules,
but
okay.
look, you can see the size in these buildings right here. That's like a fucking 10-story apartment, and this is like a 2-story, 6-story apartment, and this is like 2. It's like that. That's obviously a difference,
Right.
In value.
The point is that the guy who owns it, the price is whatever somebody's willing to accept for something. Someone's willing to pay, and what
And I
someone's willing
think,
to accept.
with enough community pressure, whoever the seller is, stranger things have happened.
They don't care about community pressure. That was who that guy was there. They would come in with baseball bats and beat everybody up if they could.
Who would?
The guys who own this thing. They have a history if you Google them, if you look them up online on the buildings they own and what they've done to the tenants in their buildings. They see a big payout, and so the only way to deal with them is to fence them in administratively, get it landmarked, right? You see what I'm saying?
I think everyone is on the same page, but it's just different tactics,
I guess.
The goal is the same. The goal, but honestly, people here don't want to see it remodeled, demolished, or whatever the fuck either, I'm assuming. The people here probably...
Which people?
I'm assuming if you said you lived here.
I live here.
You don't want to see this as a construction site, do you?
Unfortunately, there are a shitload of people around here who don't care.
Well, as someone who lives in the city. Like, I wouldn't want to see my
I
fucking
wouldn't either,
neighborhood
but you
destroyed
would be
and replaced
surprised.
either.
Yeah. And you know how many people rose up in Williamsburg against the destruction of Williamsburg? Right?
True.
That's human nature sucks, man. Human nature sucks.
Yeah, and I mean, that's why you got to stop or start somewhere. Yeah, I mean, Williamsburg is different than Harlem. I guess, like, try to save Harlem.
I mean, I don't want to pull the old guy thing on you, but 25 years ago when I used to go to Williamsburg, it was, there were no towers. It was all, it was people living in lofts, and mostly it was factories that were still working. It weren't even converted.
Yeah, and it's a fucking mall over there now. And I mean,
I went to work for Vice.
So what? In 25 years, you expect this is going to be the same shit here?
So that's why what we want to do is landmark the area, so that this stuff doesn't change, so that people get to stay where they are, so that.
So I don't understand why were they pushing you out if you want to landmark this entire area then?
My neighbor has a lot of.
Because it seems like
he's got a lot of
you
issues.
agree at a certain point. Maybe.
With what?
With what you're trying to do. Like, you do acknowledge that this is a historical area.
Oh,
and
this
you
is
want
a
to
historic
preserve.
area. It's a historic building.
I
The
think
building
that they
should be
misunderstood
preserved.
that you agreed, with that.
No,
like,
because my neighbor he's got like 15 beefs about his failures in life, and this year I'm the guy they're blamed on. I can't do anything about it. He's weird. He locks his kids in the house.
So yeah, I think everyone agrees that, but I think that they saw you as, that's the city's position, as we're unable to prove what was the Underground Railroad, what wasn't.
Oh God, no. What we said to the city was,
people misunderstood your position.
So for you to prove it, you need time. We gave an application to the city with what we knew. In 3.5 weeks, they rejected it. Okay, that's record time for the Landmarks Commission to reject something. Their standard procedure is supposed to be that when they see something like this, they call you up and they say, "We need more evidence about this, that, and the other thing. We're going to have a hearing in 6 months. Give our staff what you have," and our staff does their own investigation. And that's how they standardly do it for landmarks. We got rejected in 3.5 weeks, and the reason I think we got rejected in 3.5 weeks is because the mayor is in bed with developers, and Washington Heights is the next piece of New York City that's going to be developed. And this was like, why would he stand in the way of this?
And I think, they were misunderstood, because I think everyone agrees with all of that.
Okay, well, make my case for me, because I've given up.
But
landmarks, we did some study, and we found that there'd actually been a complete study done, but it's pretty obvious when you look at the map of landmarks in New York City, which is on their website.
And then, we also can pressure the city to not
upper,
force his eviction as well. That could be another thing. But as well, just to give it more time than fucking the 24th or whatever they've been saying.
That's why we've been talking to the mayor's office. It's been really slow. He won't talk to us.
Because it seems like time is required, at least to raise money, if that's the goal.
We've been asking the mayor and the first lady to come up here.
But yeah, it's pretty unrealistic.
Visit the site, talk to the people, and see what we're talking about. And they refuse to come up here.
So I think...
So we do what we can.
People agree with that. And it's
we need time to make the case. Like, Landmarks has a procedure. You have to show this, that, and the other thing about something. It takes time to do that. And in COVID, it takes more time.
I understand that, yeah.
Like, the New York Historical Society has documents that we can't access.
But it only helps keep ignore the issue. Since it only helps them ignore the issue since it takes so long. So that's why people are upset.
That's the problem.
And so, yeah.
And that's what we're pissed off about. We're pissed off that the city won't accept that this is an important thing. The city won't accept that this is discrimination landmarking. The city won't accept that this is a neighborhood that needs help. The city is just being, standing in the way of all this. And so we're trying to move things slowly, which is why we welcome people like you guys to come here and do it. That's about it.
Cool. We'll go over there, check it out now that everyone left. Yeah, I think that guy was just misunderstood, and it's like no one needed to hear that shit from him. But I guess, I kind of did. I was uninformed with the situation. I think most people could understand. It's nice to know context, But also from his opinion, he kind of had like a weird opinion. He was fucking talking shit about his neighbors and stuff like that. But this is the property from the back. It's like 2-3 stories. I don't know what the fuck is going on, but you know, I guess they're facing eviction, so that's what's going on. Sounds like, I mean, I don't know. They make fucking skinny ass skyscrapers. The idea that they wanted to build a 13-story building there is fucking crazy, and disrespectful on so many levels. And I think that's why people are just so upset. Like, the guy saying it didn't sound upset enough, maybe the issue, you know, like they wanted, it's like, yes, if this is all true, why are you just so nonchalant about it, you know? Like, so maybe that's where people are coming from, you know? It's like, yo, they're fucking destroying your neighborhood and you think this is okay? You know, it's like, fuck, why haven't you done more? I don't know. Like, if that's an angle. But that's kind of how I feel. If this is my neighborhood, I would have fucking tried to do more. But then he called out Williamsburg, and it's like, yeah, that is my neighborhood, and I didn't do shit. So, pretty good. Pretty good observation. Yeah, I mean, because, yeah, so much of New York, so many other places are being gentrified for this shit, and people aren't doing anything about it. But doesn't mean they can't try. Practice making a difference in the world. Yeah. I'm going to pop you down for a second.
Mr. Right, the resident.
Yeah, I don't know what the plan was. People were talking about like that Trump shit, but I guess we actually came through. Which, I mean, that's why I chose to come out here to begin with. It's like, I could have made the choice to go fucking solo counter protest the fucking stupid chud Trumpers and shit, but wanted to represent for the black community, you know? Like, believe in anti-fascism, but, you know, Black Lives Matter first every day. And I'm kind of confused. I'm trying to like fight for a landlord that doesn't want us to fight for him. So I don't really know. I mean, I don't know, honestly, what to say. It's almost as if you let the city evict him and then they do something about it. I don't know, that's fucked up. I don't want to say that, but it's like, what the fuck? Got the owner of the building doing some weird shit. Don't know what to say about that. That's all true. Like, to knowingly gentrify your neighborhood, you know? Like, sell out your fucking neighbors for a check. Like, that's fucked up, dog. But that's just like the capitalist society we live in, you know? It's like, I wish he thought about it, you know? He understood the importance. Like, maybe he didn't understand the importance when the fucking bill collectors came, you know? Like, he didn't know. I don't know. Because, I mean, this could be the fucking Red House of New York. Like, if the fucking property owner was down and wanted our help, we would help. Like, that's why, you know, like, he's like, in your fantasy world? Yeah, in my fantasy world, everywhere there's a... Which is just, you know, a house in a similar situation, and the community came together and I believe helped them out. I don't know, wrap up 6 months later of the Red House story, but it seemed like a happy ending. Don't ruin it if it didn't end well. But I think they raised the money they needed. But yeah, I mean, that's like the other thing. It's like, fuck, but in the Red House, they needed like 300 grand. Like, bro, $2 million? How the fuck are you supposed to raise $2 million? But we could try. Fucking Bezos' ex-wife, if you really care. Yeah. Send me fucking $2 million on Cash App and I'll fucking buy that house. Good timing, little pop-up. Yeah, I'm $2.75 for the bus. It costs $3 for the train. Pretty affordable transportation. That's what I like about New York compared to the Bay Area, at least. It's like $6 to take the fucking bus some places. I don't know what's going on. I think maybe we're dispersing. Yeah, I don't know what else is going on today. There was like a fucking Trump rally or some shit earlier, but totally avoided that. We're talking about that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I guess what? I could fucking stream walking over the train station. But, I don't want to fucking dox anyone. Let everyone leave. The stream elements is fucked. What's fucked about it? Link tree. Oh, I didn't put a space. I see. God damn it. Well then. Cash App put an alert on my phone. Oh. Why? Because everyone's trying to send me $2 million too quick? Anyways, just put that in there, just cause. Yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like, the subscriptions are cool, and that's, like, awesome. But I don't want y'all giving money to Amazon. Like, I'm you know, it's cool. Everyone that subscribes, I like to subscribe to people. There's cool emotes, good reasons to subscribe to people. It's like, if you just want to fucking hook me up. Don't fucking feed the rich while you're doing it. That's all. We had a protest. We're trying to save this house down the street. It used to be part of the Underground Railroad. We're trying to get it saved. They're trying to demolish it, like evict the people there this month. And so we're trying to raise awareness, hopefully raise the money. I don't know, like get the city to help out or something.
I hear that.
We had a little protest. It's ending now though.
Okay.
We're representing the neighborhood out here.
I'm right on Broadway too.
Oh, cool, for sure.
All right.
Trying to save the community out here, one building at a time. But I mean, it's tough because you know they got fucking Apple Store and shit in my neighborhood. Like if they're really gonna gentrify this place, it's gonna suck. But I already see like some fucking little bougie stores and stuff over here. No, Amazon owns Twitch. I mean, yeah, it's obvious. I mean, not the other way around, I mean. Yeah, so all of that. And all of that. But I'm not all of that. I love you all. Thanks for just watching, supporting. Like if anything, first and foremost, you know, donate to people that actually need it. Like check out Funds for Activists. They have been helping out all of the activists that actually need real support. Like all of this would help me, but some people actually need some support. So find people that actually need it. But I think I'm going to end it because I'm going to just hop on the train anyways. If I see anything going down in like downtown Manhattan on my way out, then I'll go check it out. But until then, I'll catch y'all later. Love you all. Peace. Have a nice night. A nice day. Good daytime out here. Have a nice day.